Catching up with a film from 2020 that I really wanted to see in the theater, but we just happened to miss it around here, is Minari. This is available now on various streaming services. This is a film by Lee Isaac Chung, and it stars Steven Yuen, who you may know from as Glenn on The Walking Dead. He was also in a movie called Mayhem that's a lot of fun in a very different way. And this is a very simple, gentle movie that tells the story of this Korean family who moves into a very rural town in the South, and the father wants to be a farmer. His dream is to be a farmer. They are very good at sexing chickens, which sounds saucier than it really is. Their predominant way of making money is to work in chicken farms where they look at baby chicks and they flip them over and they see whether they're male or female and sort them accordingly. The husband and wife do that. And they have two kids, one of whom has a heart condition. And in order to allow both of them to work, they bring the grandmother comes over from Korea, who doesn't speak any English and is quirky and was never very close to the kids, so to speak. So the parents leave the grandmother to look after the kids in this, not a mobile home, modular home, I guess you'd call it, that they have in a field. And she's a very unconventional grandmother, and the kids, the young son especially, reacts to her in a very offbeat way, shall we say. I found this movie kind of wonderful. Had a lot of heart. I kept waiting for it to turn into what you usually see when there's a story about an immigrant family moving into some area to try to make it on their own. You wait for the moment where the racists show up, or they're conflicting with townspeople, or somebody tries to sabotage what they're doing. And this doesn't have that. If anything, the Steven Yeun character, the father, sabotages himself in a way, but he's very single-minded. He's going to have a farm on this land. He's going to do well, and he's going to sell his Korean vegetables basically to Korean markets for the Korean population in this area, which is kind of an interesting niche. And people tell him, the last person who lived on that land wound up killing themselves because they couldn't make it work. And one of the biggest surprises in this movie for me was in the role of this sort of local, super religious, kind of weird guy, handyman, is portrayed by Will Patton, who at first I didn't recognize. He was most recently in Halloween Kills. He played the deputy or the sheriff that's in love with the Jamie Lee Curtis character. But he was also, I guess he's on Yellowstone, and he's been in things for years and years and years. But he plays this kind of oddball guy with thick glasses and a weird way about him. And it's just nice to see a movie like this about people who are living what the American dream is supposed to be. Is you come from somewhere else, you work really, really hard, and you find success at that. No, I'm not going to say whether he finds success at it or not, because honestly, I don't remember. It was a little while ago that I watched this, but it's very, very compelling. And it's the wife not necessarily wanting to keep chasing the husband's dream because it doesn't seem to be working, and the grandmother trying to just fit in with the kids, and the young son with a heart condition wanting to fit in with other kids who don't necessarily speak his language, and trying to deal with the grandmother being there and her not being very grandmotherly. And it's beautifully shot. It's got, as I keep saying, it's got a lot of heart to it, and it's a really, really fun, interesting, good, dramatic tale. Now it's in a mix of English and Korean, so there are subtitles if that's an issue, but there's a lot of, it's set in America and they deal with American people, and so there's plenty of English to go around in that. But just so you know, there might be some reading involved, but not a lot. So available now, here, there, and everywhere. Really good film from last year that I'm glad I finally caught up with, Minari.